And we are live with Toronto Stevie Live. Good evening, everybody. I realize it's very late on a Tuesday night, but I wanted to get the Raw report in because I watched Monday Night Raw yesterday, and Monday Night Raw um, came to you from, I believe it was Baltimore, Maryland. Um, and you had Joe Tessitore and Corey Graves. Um, and Monday Night Raw kicks off with the usual Then Now Forever. And they do a recap of Friday night on SmackDown when Jey Uso qualified for the King of the Ring tournament. Again, I thought, in my opinion, um, Jey Uso doesn't need the win. I would have preferred to see Royce Keys in the finals or in the semifinals, but I mean, they've kind of ruined him already. But nonetheless, right away, Raw kicks off with two SUVs arriving. Uh, the Usos, Jimmy and Jay, come out of one SUV, and Roman Reigns comes out of another one. And then right away, they walk down. They're met by Jacob Fatu, who's already there, and they all walk down to the ring. Um, Roman Reigns has a microphone. He does the acknowledge me for Baltimore, Maryland. He says, "Life is good. There's a lot to be grateful for." He immediately acknowledges Jey Uso, the right hand man. He's in the King of the Ring tournament. He's going to win the King of the Ring tournament. Acknowledge Jey Uso. He goes over to Jimmy Uso and he credits Jimmy Uso for there would be no bloodline without him. Acknowledge Jimmy. And finally, the crowd unit on their own starts a Jacob Fatu chant. And Roman Reigns says, "There's one person that hasn't been acknowledged. This person needs to be addressed. This person doesn't listen and needs to acknowledge them." Um, and Jacob looks at the Usos and basically says the only person he'll acknowledge is his tribal chief. And that's the OTC. He'll acknowledge the OTC Roman Reigns. And so Roman Reigns comes back and says, "Good, we don't need any yes men around here." So they continue to cut this. Roman continues to cut this promos. Um, he talks about the Wild Samoans. They were the bloodline. Yokozuna, he was the bloodline. Rikishi, he was the bloodline. Umaga, he was the bloodline. The Usos become the greatest tag team. They're the bloodline. And finally, he talks about himself. He's the bloodline. So Roman welcomes Jay. Welcome to the bloodline to Jacob Fatu. Again, bloodline 3.0, 4.0, I think somewhere around there. Anyway, as Roman Reigns, the Usos, and Jay. So before they leave the ring, Roman Reigns presents Jacob Fatu with his own Ulafala. It's a different color. It's not the red one that Roman wears, but a different color. And then they all get out of the ring. And then there's some actor, comedian, celebrity that I've never heard of before who is seated at ringside. I think his name is Eric Andre. Never heard of him before. Don't know who this guy is. But anyway, um, um, Eric Andre, this guy, um, he, I guess he was slapping Jacob Fatu on the back and he accidentally touched his Ulafala. And this causes Jacob Fatu to violently assault this guy. He beats him up, throws him in the ring, and hits him with a top rope splash. All the, I think Adam Pearce and some officials come running into the ring. But before, of course, they just stand around and don't do anything as Roman Reigns orders Jacob Fatu to do another splash on Eric Andre, and he does. And Roman just laughs. So this is the kind of heel stuff that that the Bloodline used to do. But now I guess they're getting cheered for it because, again, I don't know who this guy was, and quite frankly, yeah, beat him up. So coming back from the commercial break, there's the first Queen of the Ring semifinal match. It's Io Sky versus Raquel Rodriguez. And I thought, watching this, in my fearless predictions, that Io Sky doesn't need this win. Give it to Raquel Rodriguez, because I was pretty certain that Liv Morgan was going to beat Charlotte Flair in the other semifinal, setting up a possible Bloodline versus possible Judgment Day versus Judgment Day feud. Liv Morgan versus Raquel Rodriguez. But WWE, well, they didn't go with that at all. I think this was a mistake. They had Io Sky hit the over the moonsault on Raquel Rodriguez to win the match. I thought this was a mistake. I think Io Sky definitely was someone who didn't need the win, doesn't need to be in the finals. Give it to Raquel, but WWE, in all of their infinite wisdom, decided that Io Sky was going to be in the finals. Again, so now I guess it's... So Raquel Rodriguez didn't win. I thought it was a mistake to give Io Sky the win in this match. But it was a pretty good big woman versus little woman match. Io Sky is a really tiny woman. It went through a commercial break. Raquel kept throwing Io Sky around. But nonetheless, Io Sky wins and advances to the finals. And she'll face the winner of Charlotte Flair versus Liv Morgan on SmackDown. They announced that later on tonight, Charlotte will face Roxanne Perez, and Chad Gable will take on Rusev. And in the main event, it'll be the men's semifinal with Dominic Mysterio versus Oba Femi. We'll get to that. There was a backstage segment with Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez, and there's a segment Liv Morgan and Danhausen. I guess Liv Morgan wants Danhausen to put a curse on Charlotte Flair or put a curse on Oba Femi. She might as well, but Danhausen, I'm not sure if he did or not. I can't remember. There's a video of Seth Rollins talking about Braun Breaker. And then another backstage segment with Adam Pearce and Lyra Valkyria. I guess concerning a women's tag team title match for next week. And then there's video highlights of last week on Raw with Penta defeating Rey Mysterio. A woman named Jackie is backstage talking to Chad Gable, talking about how he helped Rey Mysterio, and as Chad Gable is walking backstage, he passes Maxine Dupree and Austin Theory. So for some reason or another, they're teasing. Again, they're continuing to tease Maxine Dupree and Austin Theory. I don't know where this is going, and quite frankly, I don't care where it's going. Maxine, and I could care less about Austin Theory, but same thing with Maxine Dupree. So coming back from the commercial, we have Chad Gable versus Rusev. And this was another person that probably should have asked Jackie Jones or Nasty Neil about, is that Rusev, since coming back to WWE, has basically been a jobber Most of the matches he's had, he's lost. He hasn't won. And we have someone, Anthony Chobo. Hi, Anthony. See, you're awake at the same time I am. As I'm trying to get the Raw report in before I go to bed. Rusev is another guy who they've really dropped the ball with since he came back to WWE. It seems every match he's had, he's lost. And including this one, but you kind of expected Chad Gable was probably going to win this match. And sure enough, he did. He hit the suplexes of, and coming back from the commercial break, punches back and forth, more suplexes. But I think Rusev went for the monster kick, but Chad Gable blocked it, put him in an ankle lock. Ethan Page, another guy who they've dropped the ball with, accompanied Rusev to the ring and tried to interfere in the match. But nonetheless, Rusev, I think he did get the accolade on, but Chad Gable fought through it, and eventually he turned it around. He hit an ankle slam, applied the ankle lock, and Rusev passed out. Rusev actually submitted, tapped out, and so winner by submission, Chad Gable. Page attacked Chad Gable, and he and Rusev double teamed him, but Chad then outgained Rey Mysterio and Dragon Lee, and they all cleared the ring. Talk about burials. The burial of the burial of Rusev continues. What do we got? Anthony saying, my dog Christmas is doing well, and Raw was awesome. Well, Anthony, we'll get to the main event. That was awesome, I'll tell you that. But glad your dog is doing well. So we get a backstage segment, Roman Reigns and the Usos. These guys were on like a lot of segments throughout this show. It was basically the Bloodline 3.0 show. Again, backstage, you had Oba Femi warming up, and then coming back from the commercial break, they were paying tribute to a hometown hero in Baltimore. And then there was a video of Braun Breaker cutting a promo on Seth Rollins, promoting at Night of Champions, it'll be Seth Rollins versus Braun Breaker in a steel cage match. Now, Seth Rollins won the last one, so how many guesses do you think it'll take to have Braun Breaker win the cage match? I'll predict it right now. Braun Breaker will win the cage match. So then LA Knight comes out and he talks about the bloodline. And he says it had a lot, he's upset that he didn't win the King of the Ring qualifying match. But he says, yeah, it happened exactly like I thought it was going to be, because the bloodline was there. And he also includes Solo Sikoa in this. And says, they made sure that Jay won the match. This brings out Jimmy Uso. And Jimmy basically says, Solo does what he wants. But LA Knight comes back and says, Solo made sure that your brother won the match. This brings out Jey Uso, and he says, and he uses LA Knight's catchphrase, "Let me talk to you," and he cuts a promo, and he says, "I'm better than you, LA Knight," and eventually this got into a shoving match, and Jimmy tried to play peacemaker, but Jay went and got his chair, and but LA Knight got the chair away from Jey Uso and basically beat up both Jimmy and Jay. This brought out Jacob Fatu, who put the Tongan death grip on LA Knight, and this is how the segment ended. Coming back from the commercial break, once again, Jimmy and Jey Uso were backstage. Um, 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 anyway, um, they were all over this show. So coming back, you had Charlotte Flair versus Roxanne Perez, and this one, I think they had the tag team partners were there at ringside, and eventually Charlotte Flair got the figure 8 on Roxanne Perez, and Roxanne had no choice but to tap out. So Charlotte wins the match. Again, I'm predicting this Friday night on SmackDown that Liv Morgan will beat Charlotte Flair and advance to the finals against Io Sky. And, well, in predicting WWE booking, you'd have to say that Liv Morgan will probably win the match and eventually face Rhea Ripley. I don't even think this is really going to be an anticlimactic Queen of the Ring finals. So anyway, we have Javon Evans coming down to the ring. He's interviewed by Jackie Redmond, who she says this is going to be the biggest match of your career, facing Jey Uso on SmackDown. And as he's being interviewed, out comes, of all people, Logan Paul and Austin Theory. Logan Paul still has a brace on his arm. He's still recovering from that torn tricep injury in that tag team match with the Street Profits. But he at least can cut a promo, and he cuts a promo on Javon Evans. They get in the ring, and they basically announce that you are now a member of the Vision. And Javon Evans turns them down, and basically Austin Theory says, "No, this is not a request." And right away, Javon Evans wants a referee to come out, and he wants to have a match against Austin Theory. So a referee comes out, the bell rings, and they have a match. And wouldn't you know it, just like many other Austin Theory matches, this one ended in a disqualification loss when Braun Breaker interfered in the match and basically took out Javon Evans. How many times has Austin Theory lost a match by disqualification when someone interfered in the match? This must be at least the 5th or 6th time. It's been a lot of times. And I don't know just how bankrupt WWE creative is, but this seems to be the standard default loss for Austin Theory. Have somebody interfere in the match. I don't know. Anthony, what did you think of that one? Because, my goodness. Anyway, Javon wins by disqualification, and as he and Braun Breaker are beating up Javon Evans, Montez Ford and Angelo Dawkins hit the ring, and they take on Braun Breaker and Austin Theory. Javon Evans takes a powder, and you don't see him anymore. But I guess this forwards the tag team storyline between these two tag teams. They announce Friday night on SmackDown, Cody Rhodes, defending the undisputed WWE title against Gunther. Special guest referee in this one will be Sami Zayn, and the match will be commercial free. There's a backstage segment with Roman Reigns again, talking to Jacob Fatu. Um, um, Roman tells Jacob that the Usos, they don't understand you, but I do. There's no stopping you. And so they announced that coming back from the commercial break, um, next week on Raw will come from London, England. So it'll have a special start time at 2 p.m. in the afternoon. I guess that's 8 p.m. local time in London. So if you're going to watch it live, watch it at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. So they immediately go to the main event of the evening. It's the King of the Ring semifinal match. It versus the ruler Oba Femi. And one thing I was really worried about was that they were going to completely screw this one up. This is a no-brainer when you stop and think about it. Oba Femi has just been destroying people left and right, with the exception of that second match against Brock Lesnar and making him the king of the ring. Again, a no-brainer. I was just thinking there's no possible way that WWE could possibly screw this up. And then I thought to myself, well, what if Brock Lesnar costs Oba Femi the King of the Ring tournament, and they actually have Jey Uso win the King of the Ring tournament and go on to face Cody Rhodes at a later date. So, but in this match, Oba Femi just basically destroyed Dominic Mysterio. JD McDonough tried to interfere in the match, but Oba fought him off. Dom actually got a frog splash in on Oba Femi, but Oba Femi kicked out. Oba Femi just picked up Dom, threw him across the ring. JD ran into the ring, but Oba Femi gave him and Dominic a double choke slam, and JD took a powder. Eventually, Oba Femi hit the fall from grace and just flattened Dominic Mysterio, folded him up like a cheap suit, and pinned him 1, 2, 3 in the middle of the ring. So he advances to the finals. But when after the match, Oba Femi cuts this promo on Brock Lesnar. He says, I've got one match away and the ruler will have his crown. He says, but I've got to tie up some loose ends. I need to know who I'm going to beat, whether it's Jey Uso or Javon Evans. And he basically says, well, I'm surprised, Brock Lesnar, you didn't show your face tonight. I thought you would be here. At one point, I looked up to you. I questioned you. I don't even know whether you're a man or not. What do you want your legacy to be? And then he basically tells Brock, I'm the mountain you cannot climb. Basically, WWE script writing. And he basically says, Brock Lesnar, he basically has a message for Brock Lesnar as Raw goes off the air. So that was Monday Night Raw. And, Anthony thought Monday Night Raw was awesome. I think as long as they keep Oba Femi strong, make him the king of the ring, you might argue that it's too early for Oba Femi to get a title shot, and quite possibly it is. But if you're just going to do same old, and have Jey Uso win and have him face Cody Rhodes, I'm just going to shrug my shoulders, roll my eyes, because this is something I don't want to see. This is, like I said, WWE can't possibly screw up the push for Oba Femi, but there's one way they can do it, and that's have Jey Uso beat him in the finals of the King of the Ring tournament. So let me know what you think. Let me know what you think is going to happen. Jey Uso versus Javon Evans. Let me know what you think is going to happen in the King of the Ring tournament. Already in the Queen of the Ring, it's going to be Io Sky versus the winner of Charlotte Flair and Liv Morgan, and it's probably going to be Liv Morgan. So let me know what you think about that. I'll get this up tonight, and that's all for tonight. That was the Raw Report. Like and subscribe to my channel. Let me know what you think, and I am out of here. Good night, everybody.